What's up, Facebook family? Gonna be coming at you live from the balcony today. Hope you can see me. Let me make sure this is in place. Cool, awesome. Looking forward to it. Gonna be super awesome today. I've got some amazing stuff for you guys. As you can see, I've got some diagrams, some charts coming out. Had a few dreams last night that really just put a lot of what I was gonna say today into perspective. So I couldn't be more excited to give this to you guys. This is something that multiple people have paid tens of thousands of dollars for, and you're getting it for free. Some may say I'm undervaluing. Some may say that I love to give value, which I do. So, cool, guys. We're just going to start talking about the science of creation. You know, a lot of people come to me and they say, I've studied the law of attraction. I've studied manifesting, and I've studied this, but nothing's working for me. I haven't seen any life change. I haven't figured out how to use this law of attraction. And I want to say before this video even starts to forget everything you know about the law of attraction. Today we are throwing out the law of attraction. The law of attraction is garbage and it does not work. It does not work. I'm going to inform you of a new law today, and you're going to make it your banner because it works effortlessly, and it's called the law of assumption. And today I'm going to show you how you can apply the law of assumption to your life successfully, consistently. Stop slacking, stop procrastinating, and start creating. Cool? Sounds good. So a couple basic keywords we're going to be talking about today. A couple fundamental concepts that are absolutely imperative to understand in order to begin to really master this stuff. And when I say master, I mean constantly nailing the job that you want, nailing your income goals with ease, nailing client acquisition, nailing school tests, nailing whatever you want to nail, whether it's a relationship, a new job, you name it. Today, I'm going to be equipping you with some tools that you can start using immediately to start seeing some change in those areas of your life. Cool. So basic fundamentals. I am is super important because at the end of the day, I am is all that there is. This may be called a whiteboard. This may be a fence. That may be a palm tree. That may be a sky. But at the end of the day, before my mind is able to rationalize and identify an individual object, it is I am. I am is everything that is. There is nothing that is not I am. Another word for I am is consciousness. See, consciousness is what the ancients called, what scientists today call energy. Scientists agree that at its fundamental state, all matter is energy vibrating at a very specific frequency. And what the esoteric ancients called that was consciousness. And consciousness is the fundamental form of everything that is. I am is consciousness before assignment of meaning. Awareness. Awareness is consciousness form with assigned meaning. So when I am aware of something, I am aware of the form and the rationale that I have determined. So for example, we in America, we call that a palm tree. That is consciousness with assigned meaning. It's super important to understand this because as you begin to understand the fundamental level, you are connected with everything, you're going to start seeing some change. An assumption, you can look this up on Google. An assumption is what I consent to as truth about my life. And here's a secret, nobody's maybe ever told you this. You can actually consent to something as truth regardless of what anybody else says. Growing up, I was told that I was going to be a statistic, that I was going to be an addict. I believe it's 97% of foster children end up being dead by 25 or addicted to drugs in some shape or form for the majority of their lives. I, however, did not experience that. And I don't believe in luck. I do not believe in coincidence. I believe in this very principle, assumption. I assumed with every ounce of my being that I would be exactly what I wanted to be. And that was not a statistic. That was not an addict. And I am. Today, I am exactly what I have wanted to be. Conditioned awareness, another important keyword. Conditioned awareness. So if awareness is my ability to assign meaning to a thing, conditioned awareness is long-held dispositions or long-held assignments of meaning. So that could be related to stories you may have told yourself from the time that you were a child, that you're a victim, that you're not good enough, that there's not enough, that the rich get richer, that the poor get poorer, that the Illuminati control the world, whatever that is. A conditioned point of awareness is a story, an inner dialogue, a idea, a premise that we have held to for a very long time. Cool. So those keywords are super important because as you begin to understand the true nature of things, you'll understand your relationship to all of your experiences. And as you understand your relationship to all of your experiences, you'll begin to understand how you can manipulate that relationship to create the very experiences that you would like to experience. Sound good? I know you want to create things, and I'm going to show you how after I pick up this eraser. Cool. So, let me erase this really quick so I can have your full attention down here. So we discussed I am. I am being all that is. I am is exactly what you are before you're white, Mexican, boy, girl, Chargers fan, Patriots fan, Broncos fan, lover of sushi, lover of shrimp. Before you're any of that, you are I am. It's super important to understand your true identity, your true nature. It is something that far transcends the life of this body. Your true nature is something that has existed since the beginning of time and will exist until the end of time. Your true nature is I am, is consciousness, is what many people have called God. That is who you really are. Your identity as an individual, Michael Gustin, does not exist. Michael Gustin is simply a rationale, a conditioned awareness that people associate with in order to identify this form in this third-dimensional state of being. Cool? So we're mixing physics with science, physics with faith, science with faith. I love it because I do not believe that science and faith are enemies. I believe science and faith are the twin sisters of the ages. Cool? So here you are right here. This is you. This is your true nature. I am. Cool? Awesome. Love it. I am is exactly who you are. Super important to understand this. Now these right here, what these are called assumptions. These are all assumptions. Right? It's an assumption that you're successful. It is an assumption. It is a fact that you consent to as true. The problem is most people only consent to a fact after they see it in their world, and that goes completely against the nature of things. You're not wealthy because money is in your bank account, and that may rub people the wrong way, but it's the truth because everything is inside of you. The ancients have said, Jesus said, Gandhi said, all the great spiritual teachers said the kingdom of God is inside of you. What does that mean? What the heck does it mean that the kingdom of God is inside of you? Well, what that means is that the kingdom, the dominion, the contents of everything that could ever be created is inside of you. So if everything that could ever be created is inside of you, how do we pull it out? It's super important to understand this. Your world is a reflective mirror. Your experiences are really confirmations of assumptions, and your assumptions are self-fulfilling prophecies. Cool? Awesome. Love it. Successful, wealthy, poor, victim. See, a lot of people have a single experience and then they assign meaning. They assign an assumption and they say, well, yep, I'm poor. Well, this came in, I'm poor. Well, I can't do this, so I'm poor. Or on the other end, I have enough, so I'm wealthy. I have enough, so I can do this. I have enough. I don't have enough. I'm a victim, right? So these identities that we attach to, what's really going on is those are assumptions that are tied to I am. And as those assumptions begin to tie or fuse with I am, they become experiences. So assumptions that are fused with I am become experiences. You may call yourself fat. You may call yourself obese. Your body sucks. You may hate your body. I used to do all these things. And even recently, I called myself fat for quite a while because I just wasn't eating up to my preferences. And guess what? Even though I wasn't eating unhealthy, I got really fat. I wasn't eating a lot of carbs, a lot of wheat, but I got really fat. And I didn't get fat because of the way I was eating. I got fat because of my assumptions. And a lot of people end up struggling for many, many years simply because they don't understand that assumption precedes experience always. There is never a time when your assumption will not precede your experiences, and if you wish to change the experiences you have been having, you must identify, understand, and replace the assumptions or the conditioned awareness that you've carried for many years. Awesome. Sounds good. I love it. Some more examples for you guys. Beautiful, ugly, unlovable, loved, terrible employee, promotion worthy, entrepreneur, what I've learned is that if you want to create something, you must assume that you are the very thing that you want to create. You cannot be a creator and create something that is not inside of you. Does that make sense? You cannot be a creator and create something that's not inside of you. Therefore, to be a thing, we must first find it inside of ourselves and release it into the world. It's super key that you understand this. And this is how I've taken my life from 0 to 100, from homeless to on the verge of buying a Tesla in less than 12 months. Why? Because I chose to assume that I was the person that I would like to be now. Not in 10 years, not in 10 minutes, not in 10 moments. My assumptions about my world were in alignment with who I wanted to be. It's super important to understand this, because every assumption that you carry is fused with your I am, which in turn creates experiences. And so, the science of creation kind of works like this. One of my favorite authors, Charles Hannell, he said something super, super amazing. Because a lot of people talk about taking action, but they never talk about the place that action comes from. And here's the thing, I'll tell you right now, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and take mindless action, you're going to fail for a very long time. If you want to succeed and succeed fast, you must understand how your thoughts and the content of your thoughts are actually perpetually manifesting themselves in your world. Charles Hannell said, we can only do to the extent that we be. And we can only be what we are. And guess what? What we are is determined by what we think. So, here's the truth of a matter. Take this at face value. Do with it what you will. Assumptions persisted in, crystallize into the world of fact. Always. Our assumptions about our lives that are persisted in are always crystallizing into the world of fact. We cannot get away from this. This is the law. This is more of a law than any other law you will ever come across, any civil law. The only law that matters is that any assumptions that are persisted in will always crystallize into the world of the senses. Cool. Sound good? So I'm going to give you guys a couple more diagrams to kind of help you digest this a little bit. So going back to that Charles Hannell quote. Cool. So what we think is what we are, and what we are, we can be, and what we can be, we do. In the same sense, we can only do to the extent that we can be, and we can only be to the extent that we are, and what we are is completely determined by what we think. To the one who has what does that mean? To the one who has, more is given. That is a spiritual precept that is not about your physical possessions. It is about what you possess in the world within. Because a lot of people, here's the thing, regardless of this fact that the kingdom of God is inside every single human, a lot of people only possess poverty. A lot of people are only poor simply because their inner world is full of poverty. And their inner conversations are full of I can't and I won't and I'm just not enough and I just will never be enough and I will never do this and I'll never do that. And here's the thing. If you ever want to change that, you have to change what you think. You cannot be something that is not what you think. And so here's the thing, even with shitty inner dialogues, if you come into a lot of wealth, but your stories are still, I'm a victim, I'm not enough, you're going to lose all that wealth. Nobody is consistently externally wealthy without preceding internal dialogue that is in alignment with that wealth. Good, make sense? Cool. Love it. Awesome. So, one of my favorite concepts, and I chatted about this the other day, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Albert Einstein said that, one of the greatest minds of our generation. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. What does that mean? That means that you must elevate to a higher level of consciousness to solve a problem that has been wrought in a lower one. Okay? You must rise to a higher level of consciousness to solve a problem. You must. You can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it. So how do we do that? What is a level of consciousness? A level of consciousness is an assumption, because all of our ideas come from our assumptions about ourselves. And so to raise to a higher level of consciousness, you must first raise to a higher concept of self. You cannot go to a higher level of consciousness without assuming something new about yourself. And so this is your objective. Your objective is to play with your assumptions. Your objective is to identify your assumptions. And once you have identified your assumptions, your objective is to replace them with the assumptions that you would like. What would you like to be true about your life? What would you like to experience? Assume that you are the person that you would like to be now, and you will find those experiences crystallizing into your world through the modality of persistent assumption. The two things that are required for conscious creation: a very, very disciplined attention and a persistent imagination. See, what we don't understand and what we weren't taught in school is that imagination is the source of all things. Imagination is where everything comes from. There is nothing in this world that was not first created without imagination. Everything has come from imagination. The Tesla came from imagination. The Model T came from imagination. The paper mill came from imagination. The wheel in Troy came from imagination. All of our systems of government came from imagination. Everything comes from imagination, even wealth. Literally, the idea to create wealth came from imagination. And so it's really important, if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, and you've been taught that your world is based upon the things that are happening out here as opposed to the things that are going on in here, that you begin to leave that. You leave that objective, you leave that perspective, and you come to the understanding that as within, so without, as above, so below. What happens inside of ourselves will always happen outside of ourselves. If you are convinced that you are a victim, my friend, you will be a victim. I'll tell you a little story about the hurricane that came through a couple months ago. There was an anesthesiologist that was working with my girlfriend, and I chose to stay here. And this hurricane rattled up the city pretty bad. In fact, they're still cleaning it up. And here's the thing. This anesthesiologist was texting me, dude, you just got to get out of there, bro. You just got to get out. You got to get out. It's not safe. It's dangerous. It's not okay. You're going to get hurt. You need to go. I said, no, dude, I'm fine. I'm going to be great. The house isn't even going to get touched. We're going to be fine. Guess what? Water came up to the door, didn't come in the house. None of the house was hurt. Nothing was broken. Everything was fine, just like I assumed. And it didn't happen because of chance or some separate idea. It happened because I assumed it to be true. And that's the secret, folks. The secret that all the people talk about is not to feel good. The secret is to assume that you are what you would like to be right now. And as you persist in that assumption, it has no choice but to harden into the world of fact. The fact is, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're awesome, you're rich, you're powerful, you're prosperous, you're amazing, you are majestic. But your unwillingness to believe that is the reason why you will not see it. Yeah. The secret is not that seeing is believing. The secret is that believing is seeing. And when you begin to live from the inside out, when you begin to live from within, everything changes. When I understood this concept, when I began to nail these things that I'm teaching you about today, my entire life changed. Before that, I couldn't hold on to wealth to save my life. Now I've got tons of it, and I'm not bragging, it's just being honest. I couldn't nail a lease, I couldn't nail anything. Man, my life sucked. And now I've literally got everything that I want. And so here's the thing, it's not because I'm lucky, it's not because I'm cooler than you, you're probably cooler than me. It's because I tapped into the kingdom, and you can tap into this kingdom too. And this is what we teach all of our clients at the Reality Hacker Academy. We teach them how to understand first the true nature of things, and then two, how to manipulate that for their own benefit. Because that's what it's about. That's what this life is about. This life is about desire. This life is about experiencing the fullness that you are, the abundance that you are. And until you tap into the kingdom that is within, you're never going to see it in the world without. So guys, that's pretty much it today. This is the science of creation. This is what we teach all of our clients. I'm super glad you can join me. Here's the thing. If you really want to learn how to get unstuck, to stop procrastinating and start creating, join the Academy. Message me. We'll get you set up. We've got tons of group coaching, tons of online curriculum. We've got the world's first online gametized success platform. And there's tons of stuff coming. I couldn't be more excited. So guys, without further ado, thanks for joining. I'm Michael, and I love equipping you with the tools that are going to change your life. And coming at you from beautiful St. Simon's Island, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.